4.37, like 4.36, is going to be about the lines and the shapes. Depending on how much time the bottom three start to work into, may make that a separate video. We also have some different line types to deal with. Let's see, our square is, since our sketch is going to be in metric, the 12.5 times 7. So let's go ahead and set up. We'll do a new part, and I will make sure to set to millimeters, grams, and seconds. We can open up a sketch on the front plane, and again, it doesn't really matter which direction you go. We'll set our dimension, so we have seven spaces, so 12.5. I need 2 of those, so I'm going to multiply that by 14. So I have a total of 14 spaces, and then if I start typing up into the command search, if you don't see the commands, if you have any of the other help, you'll pick on commands. Start typing in segment, and then when you pick, and if you use it enough, this would be a good time to drag it out to your sketch, or to possibly customize it and add it to the heads-up display. So we're going to divide that into 3 segments, and then we can draw our midpoint. Alright, we need a couple of verticals. And then the math isn't too bad to divide by, but if I select on a point, and the bottom, it'll give me 87.5. We'll measure or apply a dimension between the two, 87.5, and that will set up our grid. Okay, so the first one is going to be the line types. I'm going to go into Sketch and just verify real quick. We don't have the line types, and so when we customize, this might be one that would be nice to have. We have the line style, and if I were to put in the line colors, then I could also control those as well. Alright, so again, I'm going to rename that as my base grid. Open up a sketch on the front, and we're looking for the equally spaced. And I didn't make my my rectangle. I don't really need to have this for trim, but it's nice to have if I need it. So 8 equal spaces is going to be 7. So the other method, if we change from 1 and go down to the y-axis and make it 7, so 8 equal spaces will give us 7 lines. And go ahead and accept. Now the instance count, I think we lost on the last settings, because as I started to trim, even though it remained patterned, somewhere in that mix it lost the count. So put in my center lines. Nope, not the midpoint. And this would be a place where if I go left to right, I'll only be selecting the items in the window. We'll set those to equal. Alright, so one of the things we'll do, it's not going to let me, okay, there we go. When I select it, I'll get the line style. So the top one was an object line. That kind of looks like a hidden line. Kind of hard to tell what the visible, hidden, center lines. I'm not sure about the cutting plane. Well, we'll just go down through the list and see what we can do, starting with the object. Alright, so line style, and it pops up on the bottom. So we can select if I wanted to change the color, and color doesn't show up too often in our groups, but there are times where it helps to define the geometry or to designate certain items. So and just use this as an example. See if I can drag this out. No, it's kind of just stuck there. I don't see the arrows that are going to let me move it. So style and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure I'm picking the 5th one. Okay, and then the dots. Alright, so just to give you a sense, I'm not probably on the next one. I won't worry about the line styles, but okay. So we got all those in. I was just going to pick a color. So alright, so we accept those, and when we exit the sketch, well, it really didn't carry over. When we edit the sketch, we're going to see those colors and those line styles popping up. Let's take the top one, and if I wanted to make that a center line, so even though these are built in, well, actually we did that with these guys. I picked the center line, or if I wanted to change from center line back to object for construction, and not for construction, for construction. Okay, so you can manage those, but when we exit the sketch, we're not really getting that same effect. Probably this is more functional if we need to highlight or designate something in one of the working drawings. Okay, so same thing. We'll pull our vertical. This will be along the x-axis. So we're going to have a total of 7 by 12.5. We didn't do the X spacing previously, so I'll go ahead and allow it to do the spacing. And somewhere in here, if I were to pick, kind of expected one of these to have a center line. Nope, not seeing it. Alright, so without the box, I might have picked up a little bit different. Nope, didn't get it. So these a little close together, it's going to be easier to zoom up. We will pick from left to right, so just inside the window, set those to equal, and we got one extra dimension. So the 12, oh, so in that case, I really shouldn't need that. Let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the 12.5 on the spacing. And either my math, 4, 5, 6, I can't do math. So let's go back to the grid, and 2 more would make that 200, and 12.5 times 8 would make that 100, and then we need to rebuild it, and that looks a little bit better. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 5, 6, 7. Nope, that wasn't it. Okay, so somewhere I got an extra line in. Okay, so there's my instance count, total of 7. Oh, I needed to do 7 minus 1, so I should be able to go to 6. And then we have the 7 line, or 6 lines, 7 spaces. I'll get this figured out. Okay, so the next corner one, Alright, it's showing 10 at the center. So a couple ways that we could do this. We could mirror across and mirror across, which will probably be the my preference. We could also circular pattern. Since it's about patterns, let's go with that one. So sketch on the front plane, and did not pick up the intersections. So select, Control Select, point. Alright, so we'll probably do both examples. I'll just go ahead and put in my center lines. The main thing here is that we want to just do just the geometry that we need. And this really isn't going to lend itself to, well, we could try the pattern. Let's see, we have a total of 1, 2, 3. Okay, so if I go to pattern these, they're 10 millimeters each. And we're going to have 3 and reverse, and then along Y, we're going to have 3 and 10, but that's going to give me, now let's see what it looks like on the overlaps. Nope, it gave 3 and 3, so linear sketch doesn't really help us there with all the intersecting geometries. Alright, so 1, 2, and 3. So center line. So really the goal here is, do I want to add all those dimensions, or do I want to control this with some center lines? I set those to equal. And 10 millimeters. And then, just in contrast, if I were to do this as dimensions, the main issue here is that if I decide that those need to be 12, I'm changing 1 dimension as opposed to 3 dimensions. So part of our strategy is, how can we control these geometries? Okay, so interesting that one went fully defined. We get a measurement, so 3.75. So I don't know that was equal. Okay, so I don't know that one was equal. Alright, so if we go to mirror, see if I can get my window. It looks like it did it. If we go to mirror, we're going to see something like that, but no, I'm not sure why it didn't pick that up, unless there was more than because of the additional center lines. And multiple center lines can be problematic that way. And then the mirror about, and then we would do the same thing over again. If we were going to rotate center or circular sketch pattern, then I would be looking at having a location to pick from. Circular sketch pattern. That was the point, so I need the point, otherwise it defaults right to the origin. Now the problem here is this side isn't square, so we're going to be good up to that point, but then I think this is going to shift to be that way, and then this one will be correct, and then this one will shift. So in this case, since they're not perfect squares, more rectangular on that side, I can't do the rotation. So worth trying, but we're going to have to stay with our mirror. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and do the select control selects thing. Set it up to do the mirror entities. and then pick it. Let's go with that, that selection again. And if I go to mirror and the mirror about, and then usually if we have those geometries, they did come over, so that's correct. And 10. And with the offset, kind of hard to tell if that would be 10 as well, but based on our geometry, I think that's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and hide.